G'day, I'm Chris and this is Game Chambers. We are here today with a ladder stream where I'm going to be playing Grand Cathay, specifically the Eastern River Kingdoms, and just seeing how far I can get. So to our first match we have squared off against Ancient Cyclops, who has selected Nurgle, and we are on Death Path. So I've got loaded my default Nurgle army here. I've got Miao Ying with Earthblood, Talons of the Night, Lifebloom and Arcane Conduit. 2 Terracotta Sentinels. Their job is to fight against the large Nurgle creatures and just tank their way through whatever Nurgle brings, because they don't have traditionally very good anti-large or armor piercing. And then just a few peasant long spearmen just to fill in the points of the main army and give me a few units of troops. Reinforcing army, I brought a lot of crossbows, a lot of Jade Warriors, some peasant horsemen and spears, a couple of halberds, a cannon, and a great Longmar Riders. So if I bring the cannon in, I might have to actually protect it from Furies and Rotflies, so that's what the great Longmar Riders are for. Alright, we've left it for a little while now, so let's ready up, see if Ancient Cyclops is good to go. We'll give him maybe 10 or so seconds, and then we'll turn off the tick and give him maybe a little bit longer, just so that he knows that we're ready. Now with this particular map against Nurgle, you want to just hold 2 points, especially as Cathay in general. You don't really only want to hold the 2 points, but you do want to make sure that you're aggressing the 3rd point, just so that your opponent knows they have to leave something there to protect it, or else you're going to take it. So we're going to set the cannons up, depending on which side of the map we're on, sort of in one of these positions, to overlook the central and the side objective. Actually, we don't have cannons, do we? No, cannons are our own reinforcements for here. So yeah, we're still going to set up on this side, but we are going to push forward with our sentinels. Or do we want to do something different? Because we've probably got the speed to push in on the point on the Nurgle side, with the sentinels and Miao Ying, with the peasants following around while the other 2 peasants go to middle, and then we can reinforce the middle with our reinforcing army, and force Nurgle to fight over our close point. We might do that. Alright, Ancient Cyclops, we're just going to ready up now, because I think you've had a while to build your army. I've been quite generous there, so we'll see how we go. I do wish there was a way to just, tick ready without actually starting the countdown. That would be, that'd be nice, but it's a lot better than it was in Warhammer 2, that's for sure. So we're not going to have any harmony to begin with. We don't have any ranged units, but we will bring a crossbow unit in, probably as our first reinforcement, just to give harmony to our spears. With harmony, they'll have a much better defense than they would normally. Okay, so which side are we on this side? So we will probably push for point 1 with the sentinels and Miao Ying, and probably 1 spearman, while the other spearmen will go to point 2. Nurgle is probably going to push most of their forces to point 2, and if they do, we might then rotate down to point 3. If we can hold the side points against Nurgle, that'll be quite nice. But we're going to start by sending these guys that way, 1 spearman that way, and 2 spearmen this way. We're actually going to take off formation attack. It doesn't seem to be working as intended at the moment. It seems to be a negative to have formation attack on, and the unit in formation attack won't move, so the models will remain in their location, so they won't pile in, they won't do extra damage. It's a little bit unfortunate because it's a cool idea, and I think it would have some niche applications for holding position, protecting things and that sort of thing, if it wasn't such a penalty when it came to melee combat. Now it's got 7 units and 21 overall, so might shuffle this way a little bit, because the potential is he could have Soul Grinder and Kugath. If he does, we want to just duck around behind here, just to get out of the line of fire of their artillery. So nothing's hidden. Can we actually get you hidden? Yeah. Just can Miao Ying hide in the forest?
Setting for.
Oh. What's this? You got an Exalted Great Unclean one.
Shen Yang sends us.
Furies. Okay. Great Unclean one and Exalted Great Unclean one. So it looks like he might be going to go for 0.1 as well. So 7 units. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's got 2 other units that I can't see.
Marching as one.
Which are possibly Nurglings, which could be for deployed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Maybe, you know, Nurglings on this far point. Oh no, 7, there we go. Yeah, Nurglings. Okay, nice. So I don't know how Furies trade into the Peasant Spearmen.
With infinite pride.
But let's get some crossbows.
Seeking Cathay's bows.
Start heading over this way. And then we might get another spear unit. Let's get them over that way. So it looks like he might be going to try and jump on my force over here, which is completely fine. I'm not worried in the slightest about Furies, so let's actually just get Miao Ying in the air so she can fight him. And we'll come down the middle of Plague Bearers. Okay, that's fine and dandy as well. Yep, so he's now scouted out what I'm sending this way. And he's changed his mind. Okay. So we are going to relocate our forces as well, but the spear's going to keep going this way. Because we are quicker, we can maneuver faster than Nurgle. We are going to get some halberds, because of the double Great Unclean ones.
They will perish.
And the Sentinels will be able to get over here. Now double Furies will actually be able to kill these peasants, so let's see. We'll get in some peasant horsemen just to give them a bit of support. Miao Ying can come in here. Get that dodge. It's a nice excellent breath. Get Miao Ying in there. And we'll bring the peasant horsemen in to help fight off these Furies. Okay, so let's push forward onto the point. Alright, now let's start putting fire into the Exalted Great Unclean one. And we might actually pop out a cannon, because now that we've dealt with the flyers. Keep coming forward. I want you guys just to push forward. I want to try and engage the Great Unclean one away from the spears, because it has a mortis engine, which the term from Warhammer 1 actually. So it basically means it does AoE damage continually to everything around. So we don't want to fight it. We don't want to fight it near our infantry, if we can help it. Okay, so trigger this, just go guys for a buff. Get the cannon out. Shoot in the group and get you shooting this way. And we're going to drop this on these Plague Bearers. I want him. If we can take the Exalted Great Unclean one down, let's go to the Nurglings this way. 2 units of Nurglings. Okay, get some help.
Order and balance.
Guided by ancestors. That way, and then into the Nurglings. Okay. Halberds forward.
Warrior crossbow.
Keep trying to whittle him down. Get another halberd unit.
It is fated.
Okay, so Miao Ying's dealt with that infantry.
Stone and steel.
Let's get you in here. Let's kill off this thing first, because it's going to be a bit easier to kill. That's a cultist.
As one.
Fine.
By celestial decree.
Is the cannon actually firing? It's obstructed, okay.
By celestial decree.
Let's get some more ranged troops out here. Naturally, onto the field.
With joy.
Okay, so our Sentinels are taking a bit of damage. So we're going to now switch. Furies are coming for 3. That's okay.
Retreat! Withdraw! For the Moon Dragon!
Okay, Miao Ying's now in human form. Let's drop down the healing. Let's get them back onto there. Keep fighting in there. And now onto that one.
Jade crossbow!
Back, bring you around. Spears I don't want engaged. Point 3, can I? I probably can't actually save that,
Jade warriors!
but that's okay, because we don't need all 3 points. It's a bit unfortunate that Mortis Engine is doing a lot of effect, but I'm just not going to send this unit back in.
The Storm Dragon.
What do we got coming in? Nurglings? Okay, that is fine.
Jade crossbows!
Crossbows on there, crossbows on there.
Census! Warriors!
Praise
Make
the
sure that's on.
dragons!
Yeah, we're just going to ignore the cultist. If we can.
Mistress of
Drop down another heal, try and keep them healthy. Still good on that flank. Drop down that just to buff our attacks. Keep the fire coming in.
Order! Never
You can
conquered!
intercept the Nurglings.
Wind
Why
and
aren't
fire!
you fighting here? That's what I
Defend
told
the
you to do. Some more Jade Warriors onto the middle.
Bringing harmony!
That's the duel going down here. 2 Sentinels have definitely given the Great Unclean one the business. Miao Ying in human form. Doesn't look too intimidating, but she still has pretty damn good stats. 2 cannons left. Let's get them onto the Exalted Great Unclean one.
For the Emperor.
Keep up that healing, Miao Ying.
Power is
Now we are going to have to get these halberds in. These warriors can come. Do I need to send them this way? Possibly.
Sent by
Oh, these guys
dragon!
have rallied, come back in. Let's get the Longmars to give Furies.
Harmonious roar! Crossbowmen! For the Emperor!
Longmars are pretty good at taking care of Furies.
For the Moon Dragon!
1,000-point lead at the moment.
We obey!
Coming out this way.
The
Keep
Emperor
shooting. How's the
expects.
cannon going? Is he taking care of it now?
Jade warriors!
I think the cannon is quite offline, but it's
Cavalry!
we're getting.
The enemy has captured one of your victory points.
Oh, we actually lost the central capture point. Okay,
Move as wind! Seeking Cathay's foes!
let's fix that up.
Guided by ancestors!
We're not actually fighting on the point. That is definitely my fault. Should make sure you're always fighting on the point.
The Celestial Faithful. Never
Cannon
conquered.
is back online, so shoot at him.
Perish.
March in order!
Yeah, so he's got rot flies. Rot flies be pretty good
Bringing
against
harm.
the Mars.
You have the foe's
Yeah, it's
victory
better.
point.
Got the point back.
The storm wind blows.
There's the Great Unclean.
Celestial Fury!
Pull out and charge in again. You guys just keep walking out there. That cultist is just going to have a bit of a wet noodle contest in that middle there. You guys are probably just retreating now.
Sound the retreat! They will perish!
Let's get more crossbows on the field. How much money have I got? Quite a bit.
Jade crossbows.
Another crossbow unit up here. And we might get... Whoop. No, that's not what I meant to buy.
Wind and
Okay, we'll just have another
fire.
crossbow unit, I suppose.
Warrior crossbows!
I'm going to drop this on there.
Might of Gairan.
You guys are going to go home.
Steel!
The reason I'm sending them home is because if they stay and they... Oh, that's not what I meant to do either. I meant to cast Earth Blood. Okay, that's alright.
We obey!
Ready to defend.
We can use some damage from the dragon. Yeah, so if a unit goes into a shattered state, they will just keep routing until they flee off the map. And that's not what you want in Domination. You want to be able to call them back. So you want to make sure you return them to your reserve pool so that you can actually use them again.
The Celestial
Just keep
Faithful!
the pressure on this point. Make pressure on point 1. Point 3 is fine. I'm just getting another unit out there just to keep him
Raise
honest.
the dragons. Our ancestors decree.
So we're still holding this point. Miao Ying could probably push in on here. What do we got there? Forsaken? Forsaken is fine. So Nurglings are taking a while to get rid of.
Execute them.
Maybe just go up there and get rid of those rock flies. Okay, so he's retreating now.
Pride.
Guided by ancestors.
Let's move these
We're
archers around to
positioning.
get better firing arcs, and we'll get another halberd unit
Warriors.
up in the middle.
Eat up
These
pieces,
guys
the
get them to
dragons.
retreat. Okay, so let's get these long Mars. See if we can take point 3. You just come back. There's no need to pursue.
For the Emperor! Move as wind!
Setting forth.
March in ordered ranks!
Absolutely no need to pursue. We'll just shoot.
Celestial fury.
Restore order!
So he might be going to go for this point over here, which is okay.
Raise the dragon! Immediately!
We'll get some reinforcements over there.
Thoughts in harmony! Guided by ancestors! Warriors!
Terracottas can follow.
Warrior crossbow! Celestial
Rock
fury!
flies,
Jade crossbows.
and they can follow as well.
Whatever is required!
Charge them into that.
Order and the balance. With infinite
And we
pride.
might actually even get small horsemen over here.
Horsemen! Guided by ancestors!
The middle looks pretty safe, so Miao Ying can move over the other way to point 1. So we can actually win this on a single capture point now, so it doesn't really matter what happens from here.
For the
Except that I just want to make sure we don't lose this point as best as possible.
The Emperor
See, we've only got
is
500 points left, so for him to win, he would have to have less than 1,000 points. To win off 2 capture points, I
And
should
as
say.
Cathay. Rooting out evil.
Pretty much got this one in the bag. So our strategy worked well. We managed to hold the close point. We actually fought them off at the central point, which was surprising. We won the melee with the 2 terracottas. Managed to fight our way through the Great Unclean ones, even with the beast of Nurgle there. So Miao Ying's healing actually carried us through against that Nurgle healing. Yeah, see the Great Unclean one. Probably got a fair bit of value. 3,200. That's actually still a fair bit. About what it costs. Miao Ying. Let's have a look. Good game to my opponent. So we shall change my score here to 1. And we shall have a look at the end game score. So let's have a look. Miao Ying, she did alright. She was on pretty much full health at the end, kept everyone healed and alive. Both the Sentinels did really well. Spears, yeah, I guess they did their job. You don't expect Spears to make their value back. Longmars didn't pay for themselves, but they were just there to chase Furies around the map. Cannon actually did quite good. And the crossbows, this is where a lot of the value came from. It's not very obvious value while you're on the battlefield, but they definitely do some work. 1 unit of Jade Warriors did a surprising amount of work too. Alright, let's look at our ancient Cyclops and his army. So the Great Unclean one, Exalted Great Unclean one, does heaps of work with the magic and the Mortis engine. The regular Great Unclean one, not so impressive. I guess he was tag teamed by the Sentinels and Miao Ying and shot at by a cannon. Furies, obviously they always pretty much pay for themselves, and same with Nurglings, it got very close. Cultist, I'm not sure he was very well used. I think my opponent may have forgotten about him after he charged into the cannon and I surrounded him with Jade Warriors. He kind of just stayed fighting the Jade Warriors, which I was quite happy just to leave him there. The Rottweilers seemed pretty good. They're a decent counter to the Great Longmar Riders. They're a lot cheaper and I think they will actually win that fight in the air. In my opinion though, the Forsaken are what you need against Cathay. So you want to bring in Forsaken. Forsaken will defeat pretty much all the Cathayan infantry. They might struggle with the armoured infantry, but that's what you get your cultists for. So he's got armour thundering and can do some good work against them. And Beasts of Nurgle are... Did they get no value? Oh, no kills, a little bit of value. Beasts of Nurgle are a decent option against the Terracotta Sentinels. So they are definitely good. They are the best anti-large, quotation marks around that Nurgle gets, even though they don't have an anti-large bonus. Anyway, good game to Ancient Cyclops. Let's see if we can get another one. Okay, so we have matched with Skullgrinder. Let's select our Eastern River Kingdoms and lock that in and see what Skullgrinder is going to play. So we're on Silver Spire. This one's got a good, relatively good cannon artillery position, sort of near the edge here, so you can fire across the main point, and you can actually shoot into your home point if it comes under threat as well. The interesting thing about this map is you can actually call in reinforcements. So your initial deployment is on one side, so you're diagonally opposite, but you can call in reinforcements from either side. Oh, there we go, we're up against Kislev. And what have I got versus Kislev? Let's have a look here. So, Dragonblood of Shugengan, Lord of Yin. So Storm of Shadows is there to slow down the chariots, basically the bear chariots, so the artillery can do their job and try and kill them. I take Blossom Wind over Talons of the Night here, because you can see that blinded debuff is pretty good. Plus, Blossom Wind is 100% armor piercing, so it's Talons of the Night. But it's cheaper to cast, and Kislev infantry is generally in nice ranked lines. Ancestral Warriors is probably one of my favourite spells on the Yin lorebook. It's very useful, gives you a reactionary halberd unit that you can dump anywhere that you need. So you can intercept bears with it, you can drop it down to fight leopards, lords, whatever you need it for. And we have the Arcane Conduit and the Jade Amulet. A couple of cannons and some crane gunners, just a really good long-range harassment piece. A bunch of spears just to hold the line. And then we've got some halberds, more Jade Warriors in reserve, Jade Lancers, Fire and Rocket in case he goes really heavy on the infantry, and the Terracotta Sentinel. Just because it's good to have a strong, unbreakable body sitting on the central point, if you can get it. Now let's jump in and see what Skullgrinder has brought for us here on the Silver Spire. You can see there's, like I was saying, you got those two reinforcement points on the other side of your home point. So this is a very hard point to actually attack, because you need to go through past the enemy deployment zone. So this is very much a map where you're fighting over point 2 in the middle. But, I mean, it can still be threatened. And we do still have to watch for flanks, because Kislev can bring the bear chariots and the cavalry around here. They can bring them around here.
Peasant spearmen!
Okay, get these peasant horsemen. Now, their peasant horseman job is essentially to tie up chariots and incoming stuff so the cannons can do their job. So let's turn off formation attack. Probably should have dropped a cannon for this map, because you've got to walk them into position. So good spot for them is around about here, because then you can see they've got clear line of sight to this entire point. Plus from here they can see down into this point as well. So it's not a clear line of fire down there, but they can shoot and provide some support. If you move them up here a bit more, you can get right on their point, but that's a little bit risky because then you're worried about reinforcements from this direction. I do like the crane gunners in this matchup. Their silver shields do help them against a lot of the return fire. Get some groups done.
Fight in harmony.
Groups done. You guys will be the group going forward. Group that way, and the other groups to defend the ranged assets.
Thoughts in harmony.
Okay, so we'll move up there and
in
down
ordered
there.
ranks, guided by ancestors.
Cannons over to here.
Sent by dragons.
These guys up to
Gang
there.
sends us.
And get them over there. Let's go see what we're up against. So, unsurprisingly, a whole bunch of war sleds led by Kostaltyn. Kostaltyn is just not worth trying to kill for the most part. But we were very much expecting the war sleds. So
Fire in the blood
I'm quite
Order
okay
and
with
balance.
that. Which unit's that? Oh. Your job is to come up here and defend us.
Move as wind with joy.
At once!
Okay, so the Swords do have guns, so we don't want to get
course.
within shoot range. See, I've got the range indicators
Seeking
turned on, so
opportunity.
we've got the red circles.
A new path!
They are going to come in and
Gilded
try and
foot.
shoot at my Shugengan Lord.
Without fail! Repositioning!
How aggressive are they going to get? Let's see.
Marching as one.
This is
We
the
might
way!
have to drop an AoE slow on them if they decide to get too
and
aggressive.
balance. I will go! On gilded foot! Attacking unison!
In fact, we're going to drop an AoE slow on them anyway.
In celestial light!
Cavalry sent by dragons.
A new path!
Stone and steel.
My chosen place! Train gunners!
Ancient forward.
Bringing harmony! Leading the
So
way!
the slow is basically to discourage him from coming down
Defenders
into
of
my
Cathay.
lines.
Order and harmony!
Which is potentially something you could have been tempted to do.
Stone and steel.
Alright, let's look at our reinforcements. I'm probably going to bring in... What's he brought in? Armored Cossars? Bring in the Jade Warriors.
Warriors.
Probably two of them.
The celestial faithful. Move in formation.
He's now going to want to bring the chariots down around this way,
Train gunners!
which is fine because we will have line of sight to them down there.
Master of the winds!
Probably should have brought
Wind
the
and
cavalry
fire.
there. We've got 39 seconds until points unlocked, so let's just inch forward to the point. This unit can stay that
Bringing
way.
harmony.
Okay, so now I want to reposition these cannons this way.
It pleases
Same with
the
these.
dragons.
Get one unit of these that way.
Shugengan sends
Down
us.
here. Now, we're going to try and pin these chariots in, these light
Shugengan
horsemen.
faithful.
For the Emperor!
Are
Understood.
they coming? What are we doing?
Seeking Cathay's bows. It is
Keep moving a
fated.
bit.
Bringing harmony.
These cannons should be able to shoot into
Yes.
there.
Guided
Okay,
by
now let's go in.
ancestors. Whatever is required.
Drop it as well.
Dragons!
And then we're going to drop
hear
that in
my
there
prayer!
while they shooting.
Warriors.
We'll get those halberds in there.
Marching as one.
Cannons don't have line of fire.
Move as wind!
victory point.
So now we've got the halberds in there.
For the moon dragon.
And let's drop an AoE slow again.
To me!
Try and keep the pressure on, especially this injured unit at the back. Now, as they move out, the cannons should get some line of sight onto them.
Ready to rule!
victory point. Keep it from the foe.
It is destined!
Now, we're going to get a sentinel in. Probably should have brought him in from this side. I'm going to get the heavy cavalry.
Lay the lances!
Try and get him around the front.
Without a hesitation!
Marching as one.
Turn formation attack. Keep
For
going.
Cathay.
Okay, bring them up this way.
Seeking Cathay's foes!
Bring them this way. Come on, Jade Lancers.
Immediately guided by ancestors!
They were trading really well here.
Peasant horseman.
Shugengan sorcerer!
Now, when they come around the corner, the cannons will be able to shoot them.
March in order the ranks!
I don't want you
This way.
fighting
So be it!
Kostaltyn.
Never
You guys can
conquer.
fight Kostaltyn,
This
that's
is
fine.
the way! Kiss of the spirit dragon!
Cannons can join in shooting now.
One of your units has been destroyed.
Cavalry!
Order and balance.
Yeah, that didn't work. I didn't get him pinned with the
blood.
Jade Warriors in time.
Train gunners! Mines!
It is fine though, we've still got a nice trade
Peasant
happening here.
horsemen. Move in
These
formation.
peasant horsemen back out to
They will
chase.
perish.
What do we got coming? And he's withdrawn.
Unending glory is yours.
So the chariots were not able to penetrate and do what they wanted them to do. So the light horsemen were able to stop them and then the summons and the slows, the cannons, and the artillery. And the crane gunners were able to do the damage they needed to do. So, good game to my opponent's Skullgrinder. Let's have a look what we got. So, Shugengan Lord didn't do much except summon. Cannons, a little bit of value. Crane gunners, very good here. It's really good at putting that damage on the chariot, so long as you can prevent the chariots getting to your lines, which is what you bring the peasant horsemen, spearmen, and obviously the summoning of the Jade Warriors, which didn't get used, but yeah, as you can see, nothing really got value. But I don't think he liked the idea of trying to fight under cannon fire once I'd secured that position and killed one war sled and damaged the rest, but they're all full health now. And look at what he had coming. Yeah, so that was probably a fair withdrawal. He has no real range beyond the sleds, and he's probably just going to get shot to pieces with what I had. The Zargard would have done quite well against most of my units. That would have been interesting. Zargard would have been a very good choice. But anyway, good game to Skullgrinder. And let's update the score. And we shall go to 2 versus the ladder at 0. Alright, let's see who's next. See if we can get anyone else on the ladder. Okay, we have found another match. Let's see who we're up against. The old Badgerborn. Little cat girl, anime cat girl there. On Death Pass again. It's been unfortunate, we've had that one already tonight. Alright, let's switch to the Eastern River Kingdoms. Oh, too far. And lock in. What are we up against? Khorne. Now, this is actually one that I struggle with, this matchup. So, this is what I've currently been trying against Khorne. It did lose to Bloodletters last time I played it, and quite badly actually. So the Jade Warriors with Halberds trade quite well into the Chaos Warriors. They do lose against all types of Chaos Warriors, but they actually can hold their own for a little while. The Ironhail Gunners are really good at killing the Khorne, well, everything on the Khorne roster, but it's really hard to protect ranged as Cathay against Khorne. So as you can see, I've got very little in the way of ranged. I got the Celestial Dragon Guard because they do hold a lot better than anything else. Jade Lancers, Great Longmire Riders, cheap Peasant Spears. Miao Ying with Talons of the Night, Earthblood. That's her only spells there. And the Terracotta. Now, I'm thinking, been seeing a lot of Bloodletters, and we don't really have a good answer to Bloodletters beyond ranged as Cathay. And range just gets shut down because Khorne has such good mobility. So the Flesh Hounds, the Warhounds, and the Chaos Furies all deal really well. So we're going to give this list a go. I can't remember how it went last time. I think it actually did alright last time I tried it. But we'll see. On Death Pass, it's a pretty open map. Maybe I would have seen benefit bringing a cannon to start with. It really all depends on what Khorne brings. So the fight is obviously going to be not up really close, which is why the Ironhail Gunners are there, because they want to be close anyway, so it becomes tricky to protect them, especially on an open map like this one. But we'll see how we go. That's why we got so many halberds. So this time we're going to just fight between these two. We might send a peasant spearman over there just in case, just to keep Khorne honest. But for the most part, it's going to be very central. Our fight.
Warriors!
So let's turn formation attack off. 3 halberds in the front.
Faithful.
The 2 gun units. A halberd behind them. That'll be in the first group. That will be another group, and Miao Ying obviously up the front. So there is benefit to keeping Miao Ying on foot. So her, where is it? Does she not have it? But she had a buffed ability. Oh, it's the Harmony Amplifier. The Harmony Amplifier only works while she's in human form, not in dragon form.
Raise the dragons!
So let's see what we're up against. Yeah,
It
look at
is
all
our
this
sworn
mobility.
duty to defend Cathay on any front
A
from
lot of
which it
mobility.
is threatened.
The dragons ask!
I don't even know if I want to put Miao Ying into dragon form
The
against that.
celestial faithful!
But we do want to bring out cavalry against it, that's for sure.
Master of tempests.
Alright, what's his plan here? Going to surround us? So we're just going to...
Stone and steel!
Iron hail gunners! Fight
So they're on
as one!
stand ground
Harmonious
stance.
wrath! Never conquered!
Let's get her into the air.
Might of Gairan!
And bring in the cav. Come Miao Ying. Let's drop that and dive in.
Defenders of Cathay! The Emperor's will!
Okay, so if we can fend this off.
Atrimians!
I think we might be able to.
Iron
turn them to that way.
gunners! By celestial
Bring them
decree!
back.
Attack
Okay.
in unison!
Okay. It's alright.
Jade warriors! Seeking
Get you
Cathay's
there.
bones!
Get you there.
Cavalry!
Get you fighting there.
Rooting out evil!
Bringing
Move them
harmony!
forward and then
Whatever
forward.
is
So we
required.
don't want
They
them
will
fighting
perish.
there. Get more cavalry in just to give us some counter mobility.
Wind and
Stop that
fire!
movement so they can try and brace
With
for
joy.
it.
Order and balance!
Bring them
Bringing
back.
harmony.
Okay, now they can shoot him there. Now the Iron Hail Gunners survive. Yep.
Order and
Shoot back that way.
balance!
Okay, keep moving on to your point. What's this over here? Kostaltyn Alberts. Yep.
Stone and
They
steel!
fight there. You move that way. You move that way.
Sends us.
Get up to the point.
Bring
Okay.
the fire!
Harmonious
Fended off
wrath!
the Khorne mobility. I'm not sure why I took that engagement.
Immediately!
The number of
Cavalry.
halberds that I had was probably
Never conquered!
a bit much there, but let's just dump some
Lord
spears
spears!
right onto these.
Understood! The
Khorne
Emperor
dogs.
expects!
They will perish!
And we'll get those halberds
Seeking
up to that point
Cathay's
there.
foes!
Alright, now let's get Iron Hail Gunners and Spearmen out to this flank to help fight and protect over there. Let's go on that way. Kostaltyn halberds. Good.
Iron hail gunners!
Guys,
Repositioning!
move up. You move up.
The storm gathers!
You move up.
Sun Yang sends us!
Alright, so that went really quite well.
Raise the dragons!
March for the Emperor!
Marching as one!
Jade warriors!
Get those Jade Warriors to block
Move
these
in
Khorne
formation.
halberds if we can.
The celestial daughters!
Oh, sorry, not Khorne halberds, Minotaurs.
Ready to defend! Execute them!
We have a victory point. Keep it from the foe.
Just keep shooting at them. Okay, so these guys will come out here.
Thoughts in harmony!
Come that way. Alright, now how are we going here? Still trying to fight them off, are we?
Thoughts in harmony!
Come back
Setting
now.
forth!
You're pouring fire in there.
Guided by
You're moving
ancestors!
that way. Okay, Khorne Hounds dealt with
Marching
there.
as one!
Let's get the cavalry back on the move. What do we got? Okay, cavalry can start heading over there.
Zhang Yang's faithful!
You can just sort of move over here.
March in order
Stand on the point.
Restore order!
Direct
Come back.
Xinjiang's
Move up that way.
faithful.
Yep,
Get
fire on there.
dragons.
Expect to see some cultists, or maybe even a lord soon. It was a very interesting lordless
Zhang Yang
initial
sends
rush.
us.
Let's get some Celestial Dragon Guard, and we'll go this way.
Zhang Yang sends us.
You shoot into that one.
One, move as wind. The celestial faithful.
Iron Hell Gunners over there are getting jumped on, aren't they? Yeah.
For the Emperor!
Could have paid a little bit more attention to that.
Dragon Guard!
Iron
You guys not
hail
shooting?
gunners.
Come on, shoot.
Celestial fury.
Be nice when the
For
responsiveness is
Cathay!
improved, because these,
We
come on, Iron Hell
obey.
Gunners. What are you doing?
Guided by ancestors.
Turn, stop, and shoot at those Chaos Warriors.
They will perish.
Okay, looks like these Iron Hail Gunners do not want to shoot.
Marching as one.
You want to stop order them and see if that makes them start shooting.
With
Nope.
pride.
I don't know what they're doing.
Repositioning!
Harmonious wrath.
But we managed to get the counter charge there.
Praise the dragon!
He's into that fight too.
Warriors!
Minds as one.
Rooting out evil!
Let's see if he's paying attention over here. Doesn't appear to be. That's going to be nice then. And let's get some long Mars. Now, the reason why I go long Mars here is because the long Mars give me a fast moving reactionary force that can move between all the points.
Mistress of storms!
So Miao Ying won't be the only mobility in the air. Because Khorne is so mobile, you need to kind of be able to counter their mobility.
Sent by dragons.
So now they've recovered, they can come that way.
Move in formation.
Okay, let's try and charge back in.
Defenders of
Don't
Cathay!
need to charge, but
Come
you know,
on,
the long Mars should be able to get a rear charge.
Iron hail gunners.
Iron Hell Gunners should be able to get some nice crossfire.
Stone and steel!
When this unit gets into range, then we should be able to drop a nice Talons of the Night on them as well.
Order and the balance.
You guys just move to there so we can start shooting those halberds.
Defenders of Cathay.
And we'll get the long Mars
Marching
back
as one.
into the air because they're probably going to be needed over here. Alright, so silver shields will help them, but shields only help from the front 60 degrees.
The
We
storm
will
dragon!
dump this right there as well.
Never conquered!
That's that in Celestial.
Sent by dragons!
That's my Jade Warriors. Yeah.
Move as wind!
Iron hail gunners.
You guys keep going. I think they've got that fight.
Seeking Cathay's
Let's get them
foes!
into there.
Bring in harmony!
We'll get another Longmar Rider as well.
Cavalry!
We want reactionary forces. Yeah, and good. It's bringing out Bloodletters. Longmars are pretty good against the Bloodletters. Yep, haven't charged in there yet. Okay.
Shenyang sends us.
Ready to defend!
The halberds are in there. I don't really want to fight the halberds. Let's cycle charge these things. What have we got coming in here now? Chaos Furies. Okay, let's go deal with that first.
Understood!
And we want to drop this when we're over the top of these.
Exalted! Repositioning! Fight
Just
as
charge
one!
them. Alright, we've pretty much got this under control. We've got a huge points lead. So it's
Without
unlikely
hesitation!
our opponent can come back from this. Are they breaking? Let's get a full surround on those Bloodletters.
Irons as one! March for the
Don't
Emperor!
need to use any magic here. This is pretty much under control. There's not a whole lot. Yeah, and there we go. My opponent has
Unending
withdrawn.
glory is yours.
So his initial gambit didn't work. The charge of the mobility. It might have worked if I'd have gone with more of a traditional army with a lot more ranged assets, but I was able to sort of form a box on the march, protect the crane gunners, and go from there. So let's have a look at some values. Miao Ying did okay, nothing out of the ordinary, but oh, that's nice work from that halberd unit. And most of these halberd units did quite well. They all survived, but this is where this is a 500 gold unit. These Iron Hail Gunners, they are absolutely brilliant units. I love them. And these guys, yeah, they just did their jobs. The Jade Lancers, their real purpose was as fast blockers, essentially. So I had to bring them in early to fend off the Fleshhounds, which I'm sure when we look at will still have done really well. So this one did really quite well for itself too. So the Minotaurs did not pay off. I'm not sure. I think they must have been there for Sentinels, to deal with any Sentinels and dragons maybe. And actually that's not great numbers for Fleshhounds. Fleshhounds usually trade upwards significantly better than their value. And same with these Furies. So this one's nearly paid for itself, but it was probably summoned twice, because they did come back a couple of times. So the Herald was the Lord. And yeah, nothing else has managed to do much value. So good game to my opponent Badgerborn there. So we've if I'd gone more of a traditional range list with some Sentinels, it would have been really hard to deal with all this mobility. So that's why I've started going a list like this. Okay, let's update the score. And we'll see if we can get one more in. Okay, it looks like we have a rematch with Badgerborn. I don't know if he's going to want to do that again, but we shall see. Crossing the Sea of Claws, alright. He's gone Tzeetch this time. So, this is actually a pretty tough matchup. What have I been using for this? That one was doing quite well. I think this one was what I've been trying. So, regrowth was for herself, because you do have to worry about sniping with Tzeetch. And another big issue potentially with Tzeetch is they can get Pendulum. So it basically invalidates your infantry at the moment with the current state that Pendulum is in. So it can be quite tricky to deal with that. So I try and use the Long Mars and Miao Ying to zone them out. And the Fire Rain Rocket is there for its cost effectiveness at dealing with horrors. Well, actually, it's not really even cost effective, but it is effective from the battlefield to deal with the horrors. The Jade Warriors and the Crossbowmen with shields actually resist the horror fire quite well, and you go the triple Great Longmar to try and maintain air superiority, just so you can try and zone out the Lord of Change. They also happen to deal quite well with Flamers and Blue Horrors and that sort of thing. This does struggle with Doom Knights. They're completely reliant on Miao Ying for killing of Doom Knights, or for Tzeetch Knights, Chaos Knights of Tzeetch, sorry. And obviously Forsaken are a real issue for it as well, which is you try and use Miao Ying with Talons of the Night to do as much as you can to the Forsaken. So good luck to Badgerborn in game 2. This might be our last game. We'll see how we go. So this map, it's kind of interesting. It's got like a half of the map is good for the ranged factions and the mobile factions, which is this section down here. So you've got lots of clear lines of fire, easy access between the 2 points, and room to maneuver and flank and that sort of thing. And then down here is more for your melee, slower factions, because you've got protection from range with all these mountainous areas. You can still flank around them, but you've got choke points to be able to seal yourself off. So I'm actually though going to fight on the high ground points between 1 and 2, because I have brought the Fire Rain Rocket. Oh, that's a bit of a lag. Yeah, the Fire Rain Rocket can cover both of these points from about here, so it will have to move a little bit. I will be... Oh, a lot of lag. Okay, I will be sending one unit down to point 3, just to force Tzeetch to send something down there. And these guys do... Okay.
Mistress of Storm.
You in a group. You in a group. You in a group, and we'll go from there. Alright. Good luck to Badgerborn. Wow, where's this lag come from? Hopefully it still sorts itself out. He's gone. A lot of Screamers. Okay. Very heavy Air Force. And Forsaken. Alright. So the Fire Rain Rocket is not going to be of much use.
Is my vow.
nor are the Great Long Marks.
Guided by ancestors, bringing harmony.
Marching as a one.
And what's the caster going with? Law of Metal with Final Transmutation and Searing Doom, so we want to make sure we don't blob up as well.
It is decreed.
We're not going to put Miao Ying into the air.
Dragon Guard.
We are going to grab our... Ooh, I don't have halberds in this build.
Order.
Okay, we're... That's an issue. This build should have a couple of Jade Warrior halberds.
Dragons.
Rocket battery. They will perish.
Attack.
So you're going to lose that if you fight in the air. So we're going to land.
For the Moon Dragon.
And then get Miao Ying in there. And we're going to drop a preemptive heal on them. And then we're going to bring in some crossbows.
Crossbowmen. Defend the realm.
So this Fire Rain Rocket is basically written off. We're not going to worry about it.
Minds as one for the defense.
Not even going to try and defend it.
Raise the dragon. Harmonious wrath. Dragon Guard.
Where'd that unit go?
For
Let's fight the ones that are on the ground. So what's that? Final Transmutation. Let's not go into that.
March for the Emperor.
It's okay. Just got... Wasn't too bad.
The celestial faithful. Guided
Okay,
by
let's keep pushing onto that. Get some more ranged.
Thoughts in harmony.
Just keep
For the
fighting
Moon
there.
Dragon.
Okay, so you're moving in that way. The Jade Warriors are going to lose to the Forsaken, but how are we doing with value? Trade pretty evenly. Let's get another
The celestial
Earthblood down. We can't yet.
the celestial faithful.
Alright, we might go airborne now, because we don't have as many.
Repositioning.
We might actually take... Oh, let's put a
Marching
horror
as one.
down there. We'll get them into
Fight
there.
as one. Dragon Guard.
Mistress of storm.
Let's keep clearing up these screamers.
Minds as one.
That's okay.
Marching as one. Set by dragons.
You don't want to fight that one, Miao Ying?
Crossbowman.
Okay, so that's alright. Now,
Rocket battery.
we lost
Bringing harmony.
the entire Fire Rain Rocket, which is fine.
Shen Yang sends us.
We're not going to resummon it.
Fight as one.
For the Emperor.
We have actually kept up on value, which is surprising when you think about what we've
The
lost.
celestial faithful.
Praise the dragons.
Okay, cool.
With infinite
Got our
pride.
backline under control.
Move as wind.
Now let's get in here and see what we can do.
Harmony.
Gonna need to start shooting down the Forsaken. The lag.
Thoughts
Need
in
to recall the
harmony.
Fire Rain Rocket.
Disengage.
Still got a lot of its hit points left, so we're going to get a pretty decent refund from it. So you can see we'll go from 1200. If as we watch the lag. One more second. And up to 1600. So we got a little bit of a refund. So now what do we got in here? We have Doom Knights. So we've seen that we don't have much armor piercing, so we're going to bring the Sentinel in.
For the Emperor.
I'm going to send them in there.
The celestial daughter.
And we're going to send... So it's going to hurt a bit.
Cavalry.
Crossbowmen.
Okay, so we need the crossbows on the horrors.
Repositioning.
Might charge you in there. And we're just going to delete these units as one by one as possible.
Sound the retreat.
For the Emperor.
Get that one in over that way. So he's fine. Get you into that fight.
Ready to defend.
Okay, so they're breaking. That's what we want.
We obey.
Spears.
Push for the spears.
Attack in unison.
From the Emperor.
Drop the buff.
It must be
Bring
done.
you guys back in. send you home actually. Oh, you're broke. Never mind. And let's get more crossbows.
Crossbowman! Repositioning!
What do we got coming? Big corridors. That is fine.
Jade Warriors!
Take out the Doom Knights. And you want to be fighting the Forsaken. And you want to be shooting whatever you can shoot. Maybe the Lord.
March in ordered ranks!
You're pretty battered, so head up there just to give him a buff.
Retreat! Withdraw!
Okay, so 1 second. Let's see what we got. Not worth it.
Defenders of Cathay!
Push him out in there.
Xinjiang's faithful!
Damn it. It's not what I wanted.
Restore order!
Get some more crossbows.
Crossbow! Attack!
So we're going to have Chaos Knights in this direction.
Restore order!
We need to push into this point, guys.
Warriors!
So yeah, like I was saying in the build phase, I've really messed up and not brought counters to armor, so we're gonna struggle a bit with that. Oh, why are you taking so much damage?
It is decreed!
Drop that.
Master!
Transform and give him a heal.
By celestial decree! Warriors! Jade Warriors!
Pushing forward.
Sound the retreat!
Move as wind!
There's my circle. Hello. Can I not cast regrowth? I mean, oh, it's regrowth. I thought it was Earthblood.
Sound the retreat!
The long Mars back in the air.
Guided by ancestors!
Guided by ancestors! Anything for Cathay!
Get them into combat. Get them into combat. Okay. What do we got coming in? More Forsaken. Definitely a problem.
Wind and fire!
Celestial fury! Attack
Charge though.
in unison!
Charge them. Yep.
Jade crossbows! Stone and steel!
So that is definitely going to be a problem.
Sent by dragons!
Shenyang, guide me!
So we got the spell coming down here.
The dragons!
It's going to be a final transmutation, I think. Hey, cancel it.
Defenders of Cathay! Harmonious froth! For Cathay!
Defenders of
Okay, where's our units?
Sound the retreat!
Stone
Okay,
and
bit of a
steel! For the Emperor!
crash there. Oh, no, spread out, spread out, spread out. Don't get final transmutated.
Jade crossbow!
We've just got to hold point. Do we have enough? Yeah, just got to hold points 2 and 3.
Order and
Don't think he's got enough to win off of a single point.
Rooting out evil! Never conquered!
Deal with the blue horrors first, because they're breakable,
harmony.
and then we'll deal with the spawn.
Celestial fury! Xinjiang sends us!
Fire rain rocket's still not going to be of any use to us.
Retreat!
So these guys should be able to bring down that Herald.
I give assent! Might
And we might go back into dragon form. How much wins do we have left? That's it. Okay. Well, let's throw the regrowth down on big guy here. Top him off, and then we'll go back into dragon form.
For the moon dragon!
Guided by ancestors! Behold the tempest! Strike them down!
One of your units has been destroyed.
And we need to be on that point.
Warrior crossbows! Seeking Cathay's foes!
We're going to need to triple now, I think.
Seeking Cathay's foes! Long spears! It pleases the
Okay,
dragon!
we can do that.
Celestial fury!
Jade crossbows! Harmonious wrath! A retreat!
Kill them off.
Or we got draw!
You kill that off.
Guided by ancestors!
Yeah, I think he's realised that he knows that we need a triple now.
The storm gathers! Move in formation! It pleases the dragons!
Alright, let's see if we can do it. So you guys need to kill them off quickly.
For the Emperor!
We might struggle to get this here, actually.
Defenders of Cathay!
Warriors! With joy! Restore order!
Okay, let's get these guys in.
By dragons!
Are we going to lose this point? Probably not.
Move as wind!
Alright, let's break these blue horrors as quickly as we
Sound
can.
the retreat! Setting forth!
Get Miao Ying over there.
Never conquered!
Maybe charge one of them into there just so they can't countercharge us.
Shenyang sends us! Seeking Cathay's
Is Miao Ying on her way? Come on, Miao Ying.
Mistress of storms! Marching as one!
Order and balance!
Get home.
Seek new foes!
Coming in that way.
Stone and steel!
Go down that way.
Whatever is required.
I just need to get capture weight onto this point.
By dragons! March in ordered ranks! The storm dragon!
It's going to be close. If I can decap it at the very least.
Praise the dragons! Move as wind!
Need you fighting. Need you on the point. Need you on the point.
Bringing harmony!
Need you fighting in there.
Of the Emperor! Sound! Long spears!
It's going to be a very close one. Just force path onto the point, guys. Don't think we're going to get the weight on there. Just need to tear her out. Okay.
Cavalry!
Naturally! It is fated!
Probably unlikely to happen.
The celestial faithful! Move as wind!
Move as wind! Bringing harmony! Marching as one!
Gairan's fury!
Move in formation!
Come on, alright, let's see what we can do with this. We're not going to lose this. We're not going to lose that. The only chance we got is taking this, and we're going to need a terror route for that to happen. Got capture weight now. Keep moving on.
Peasant spearman! Fight as one!
Just walk onto the point. So you'll hold. We're not going to get it, I don't think. It's just not quite enough time. No, good game to my opponent. That's a close one. So I think I was in front a fair bit on value, but I just didn't take the points in time. I should have probably put a little bit more effort into the points. I just did not bring enough to deal with the armor. I should have... I mean, I realised it when I looked at my list, that this list pretty much counts as horror spam. It doesn't do anything if Tzeetch decides to bring Forsaken and other armoured units. So let's update the score. Ladder got 1, and we got 3. Okay, good game to my opponent Badgerborn. It was well played by him, and definitely got me that game. Yeah, look at all the value on the Forsaken. I still had heaps of blues, but the Forsaken were definitely the key winners there for that The Long Last did really well too. And the Jade Warriors surprisingly well. So everything of mine performed its job. Except for this poor unit of Jade Warriors. I wonder what happened to them. Probably the ones that got charged by the heavy cavalry. These spears did good too. Yeah, so everything of mine traded well. I just did not push them onto the point, and my opponent did well keeping the Forsaken on the point, and I could not kill them fast enough. So once he'd captured the point, I couldn't remove his armoured, shielded units in time. So good game to Badgerborn. Next time I'll have to think about bringing a bit of armor piercing along with me. Not sure in what form that'll look like. I might have to go back to the drawing board for Grand Cathay vs Tzeetch. It's one of those matchups. I am still struggling with that one and the Khorne matchup. I haven't quite figured them all out. But anyway, good game. Hopefully you have enjoyed these battles, and if you have, please give me a like and subscribe down the bottom, and we'll see you in the next episode.